Here we go, guys. In 3, 2, 1. Welcome back, everyone. Oh, we're doing the clap.
I was clap syncing. I acted on instinct. I'm sorry. It jumped out of me. I forgot we're on one audio track now. My bad.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Lords of the Screen podcast. We're a film and entertainment podcast talking about a lot of cool stuff today. We're going to cover Luca, recently released from Pixar on Disney+, and we're going to talk about our top 5 favorite Pixar films. But before we do that, I wanted to introduce Nick, Burch, and Kevin Rice, my co-hosts. Hey, guys.
Hello again.
Hello. I'm back. I'm back,
You're
baby.
back. You're actually on the show, Nick.
I know. Heat wave couldn't keep me away.
There you go.
I also wanted to say a big hello to our friend of the show and our other temp co-host that's on all the time, and we love him. Hey, Daniel, welcome back.
Hey, it's good to be with all of you all.
Yes, great episode to have you on, man. I'm always happy to have Daniel on, so glad he's here. But let's get to talking movies, guys. So a Pixar film called Luca recently released on Disney+. And I wanted to start off by saying Pixar was actually not happy about this. Seems to be a big corporate push from Disney to release and get some hype for Disney+, but it didn't go to the theaters.
So this was one of the ones that was a victim of the pandemic. It was supposed to be a theatrical release, and then it kept getting pushed back. And so the interesting thing is that Disney made the decision, unlike with Soul, to put it on the premium tier. To just release it, for free to Disney Plus subscribers. And yeah, I'm hearing that a lot of the employees and staffers that worked on this are not happy about it.
I think this is actually the second one. Soul was free as well.
Soul was free? No, Soul was paid. We paid for it.
I thought Soul was free.
Yeah, I thought it was. I thought the Pixar
Soul
film
was free. It came out on Christmas.
Yeah. Oh, I'm just an asshole then.
Yeah.
Okay.
You are. Always.
We knew that.
There
It's
you go.
about time everyone learned this.
That's true. Yeah, that's
No, but yeah, so Pixar, that's actually what they've kind of been upset about, because this is 2 in a row now that Disney has not charged for, and they've just released, in my opinion, 2 very good theater-worthy films. So, Kevin, why do you think they're doing this? What's going on?
Well, first of all, I realized my mistake. It was Raya and the Last Dragon that was the animated movie that was premium, because we did pay for that one, yeah. So as to why I think they're doing that, I don't know. I guess maybe both Soul and Luca are maybe just a little more niche stories that maybe they feel wasn't going to play as well to the mainstream audiences, so they didn't want to bother taking the financial. I don't know. I really don't understand it, because I think both of these movies were better than Raya, and I liked Raya a lot.
Raya, of course, a Disney film, so for their own, under their own tentpole, they're charging money. All of the Disney films that have come out on Disney Plus have had a $30 price tag. But when it comes to Pixar, which has kind of been their golden child of a studio for animation for so long, they're giving them out like they're free candy.
Yeah.
Nick, you're the big animation guy. Do you think these movies are worthy of being in the theaters?
I mean, yeah, definitely. But I guess the only thing I can think of is like maybe with the whole pandemic situation, they've decided that these movies are worth more by driving subscribers to Disney Plus than they would be by doing the theater and premium release type situation. I'm not really sure. Maybe they're trying to build a lot more subscribers before some more with Loki coming out, and they're just trying to get people to buy Disney Plus and then maybe stick around to watch Loki weekly. And I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of is all about just keeping the subs flowing.
I read somewhere online that they were doing this because kids that young that they're targeting weren't able to get vaccinated yet. So this was their way of reaching that audience.
That makes a little bit more sense. Okay. Yeah. Because I just don't know if I buy the whole, we need to do this to drive subscribers, because Disney is absolutely killing it on subscribers.
Yeah.
They are.
They reached their 5-year plan in less than a year for their 5-year subscriber count goal. So, yeah, the vaccination thing makes a lot more sense. Yeah.
But one thing we do know with Disney is that enough is never enough.
True. This is true.
5-year goal, schmive-year goal. They're going to try and keep pushing along. More subs, give them all.
That's true.
We were actually talking about streaming services the other day in our little, Facebook chat, and we were saying, like, even regardless of how big you are, Disney might be doing great, but there's so many coming out and so many getting different attention. I mean, Peacock just came out, and it's certainly not very popular right now, but, it could be. Netflix is kind of getting its butt handed to it these days when it comes to streaming services.
Honestly, Netflix is kind of my least watched streamer right now. And about Peacock, I will say, don't sleep on Peacock, because they have some gems on there. They really do.
They also have WWE. So,
this is true.
They're very important.
But the new Tina Fey produced show Girls Five Eva is one of the funniest sitcoms I've watched in the last couple of years. So don't sleep on it.
We'll have to have another episode about the streaming wars at some point. That's a good topic. But gentlemen, let's talk Luca. A great little film, in my opinion. I had a lot of fun with it. I guess we'll start with the controversy behind this film, and one of the things that I know you wanted to talk about, Daniel, and you wanted to be on the show about today. Luca, obviously, it looks to be from the outside, and the director has come out and denied this, but it looks to be a film about a gay relationship and coming to terms with people's homophobia, coming to terms with people's prejudices, and like going out in the world and facing that head on. And Daniel, I want to get your opinion starting off. Do you agree with the director that this has nothing to do with this, or are the people that worked on this film obviously trying to get a point across?
I think they're definitely trying to get a point across. I think that there are a lot of nods in this movie to the LGBT community. Mm-hmm. I don't know if Disney is ready to go full force to say, this is, yes, gay characters. There's certainly been some winks in some past movies to the LGBTQ community. Mulan, there's a lot of with the song Reflections. Mm-hmm. Elsa from Frozen. We had LeFou in Beauty and the Beast, the remake. Even Scar from Lion King has been rumored to be gay, so there's been little winks here and there, but there's never been something so blatant as this movie, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. There were a lot of, symbolism to the community, Luca and Alberto, hiding their true forms to, kind of like I equated it in a way to kind of, hide in the closet, from them being in the ocean to being out and free in the world. There were a lot of lines in the movie, about feeling like you have to hide part of yourself. And it was even the grandmother in the movie that said, something along the lines with, not everyone is going to accept him, but he seems good at finding those that will. Yeah. So there were just a lot of those winks and nods and a little bit of touching too much and holding on that long embrace a little longer than normal. So mm-hmm. I get what the director's saying, and to be honest with you, the LGBTQ community can sometimes I think they're hungry for this type of representation in a Disney movie, that they're looking for anything. But to me, this has been the closest thing so far that we've had to any kind of gay character in a Disney movie.
Disney has been skirting around the issue for years now. You go all the way back to the Disney Renaissance, and even probably before. There was a lot of gay coding, especially in the villains. You already mentioned Scar, but most of the villains of that era were just they had the stereotypical effeminate gay manner.
Always the villain.
Always the
Hades.
Villain. Yes. But I mean, Scar especially. But then look at Ursula. Ursula was directly modeled after Divine, a drag queen of the 70s, 80s. So there's always been a clear understanding on Disney's part about gay characters, but they've never been brave enough to, for lack of a better word, come out with it. And I think it even still persists to this day, because how many times have we heard over the last few live action movies, oh, Disney's finally doing a gay character, and it's LeFou, or this the character in Cruella.
I think there was
made, when that all happened, how that was a bigger deal than the remake itself.
Right. Yeah.
There was also that like fabled big lesbian scene in Star Wars, the newest Star Wars movie, and they got to it, and it was like two characters in the background that no one cared about.
Exactly.
You know?
Right.
And
going on?
To me, this feels a bit like Disney trying to have its cake and eat it too. You know, whereas we're gonna on the surface say that we're gonna finally, you know, let the LGBT community have their representation in our movies, but then we're not really ever going to do anything with it. We're never going to actually make it a real thing.
Especially like when you look at this movie coming out during Pride Month and et cetera, et cetera. And there's a term that I don't know, y'all are probably all familiar with, but rainbow capitalism.
Yeah.
Where, you know, these major corporations want to profit off of the LGBT community and the perception of being supportive and accepting of it, but not necessarily commit or, you know, do things behind the scenes that would very much contradict their supposed efforts to be, you know, supportive and representative.
It's very often pretty damn nefarious in that, you know, we'll make social media posts with rainbow flags all over the place, but then on the slide we're going to donate to these anti-LGBT, you know, lobbyists.
And look, Disney has a lot to lose by making this a blatant gay character. I mean, there are a lot of conservative Christian groups out there that would boycott Disney World, Disneyland, every Disney movie there is, if this was, you know, two boys that were so-and-so, quote-unquote, fallen in love, if you will.
Yeah. And let's be clear, this is a movie about children. Nobody wants to see it done explicitly.
Correct.
But I still think they could have gone a little further to actually just, you know, to just make it understandable that yes, this is the intent.
Because I still think they did, though, Kevin. Like,
you think so, really?
I mean, look, when they're lying under the stars, I mean, they're basically you know, the long embrace at the end of the movie. You know, I mean, there were a lot of scenes that if you're a kid and you're kind of confused and feeling things you don't understand, you see this, like, I think you start understanding them a little bit more.
But I guess the disappointing thing is that you know, the director and the studio, they've all come out and saying, no, if you're reading anything gay into this, that's just what you're bringing to the table. We didn't intend this at all. So it seems to me that they're still trying to, you know, to hide it. And
they held back just enough so that, you know, the folk, like the people who would be against any kind of gay thing in a kid movie, they held back just enough so that those people can just be like, there goes the gay community forcing gays on our kids again. You know what I'm saying? Like they held it back just enough, but it's obvious to anyone with sense and eyes what is going on in this movie, right?
Yeah.
I mean, come on, the two main characters didn't eat carbs. I mean, like, come on.
You know, to me, if coming from Disney, like I expect it from a lot of the other companies, but like I expect more from Disney. I really do. I want them to be as inclusive as they say they are. I want them to walk the walk and talk the talk. And like they have so many gay employees, and they've been so gay friendly on the inside for so many years. They just never do it on the outside.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, come on. Like Kate brought up his name in the last podcast when she was talking about the guy that wrote all the songs for Aladdin and Lion King and
Howard Ashman.
Yes, Howard Ashman. He has an absolutely wonderful documentary on Disney Plus, by the way, about how he created all the songs. And, you know, he was in a very committed, loving gay relationship, and he was one of their star employees that brought their company back to fame.
Absolutely.
And it's like, come on, like, respect the people you have working for you. I mean, like, I know money is money. Money talks and money is king. And you got to sell this movie to the conservatives. You got to sell this movie in China, right? But I just for once, they could just say maybe, hey, Luca maybe isn't for China. Hey, maybe Luca isn't for conservatives. Right. This is for the people that we care about. This is for that community. And I kind of wish they would have just embraced that. I mean, the conservatives can balk all they want, but they're still going to go to Disney World. They're still going to watch the next Cars movie.
Exactly.
I mean,
they'll bitch about it for 2 months, and then they'll be first in line to the Matterhorn. You know, I mean, come
exactly.
on.
So I feel it's a little bit disrespectful for them to come out and do that. I mean, I appreciate the creators. Obviously, I think Daniel's spot on. I think they're very, very blatant about it. And I mean, releasing it during Pride Month and all that. I mean, come on.
I think though, you know, whether they come out and say it or not, that I did appreciate a lot of the nods they gave. You know, whether it was implicit or not, just, you know, the finding the good ones and, you know, being yourself and being true to that. There are a lot of people that need to see that, or there may be family members who are having trouble accepting, you know, their gay loved one, you know, and I think seeing it in this form kind of makes it a little more okay, and not throw it in your face, makes it a little more accepting and easier to kind of, you know, to taste, if you will.
Yeah. And I think the reality that is probably always has been and always will be is that the kids are not the ones being bothered by this.
Yes.
Kids are just going to accept it because it's life. It's the normal life. It's the parents. So
It's the Karens.
It's the Karens of the world. So they've just, well,
and the Karens are loud. You know,
they are
the Karens are loud, you know?
They demand to see Disney's manager.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I want to talk to Walt himself.
Exactly.
Unfreeze that bastard.
Yell at a statue.
Mm-hmm.
It was a cute movie, whether you can take the gay thing out. I thought it was still a cute movie. You know,
and that is, I think, why it is ultimately a success, is because it plays, you know, if you want to really look at the subtext and dive into the themes, it plays really well. But if you don't, on the surface level, it's still a really enjoyable film.
So I want to actually talk now that we've got the big controversy out of the way. Let's talk a little bit about the film and sort of, you know, we're going to do this ranking of our favorite Pixar films. Let's kind of talk about where it fits in with the rest of the Pixar movies and how much we enjoyed it or didn't enjoy it. But I'll start here because I actually kind of want to compare it to the previous Pixar releases, Soul in particular. Soul was a very, very heavy, thought-provoking movie from Pixar. We've talked about it a little bit on the podcast, but it's kind of a 180 from Soul completely. Yeah. I felt just a joy watching this film. I felt like a kid on a Saturday morning cartoon. Like, it's just a big sort of fun adventure. And, you know, there is the gay subtext underneath, but overall, I think the movie is just like Saturday morning pure fun to me. It's not going to make you think heavily. Like there's a very stereotypical Italian bad guy with his goons, and there's two boys and their cute, you know, girlfriend like trying to overcome this adversity, and like it's just like it's not as complex as Soul. There's not so many things to like unwrap. And you can kind of just enjoy the beautiful imagery and the cute characters and kind of have like with your big bowl of cereal, you know, watching on like on a weekend morning or something. Like it was just all around a happy film.
Yeah.
Yes. I know this is controversial, but I've enjoyed it more than Pixar's recent releases. This is actually a really high ranker for me. It almost made my top 5 list. Yeah.
Really?
Mine too.
Wow.
Yeah, it almost made it. I think if we were doing a top 6, it would be my number 6.
Interesting. I have it pretty solidly mid-tier. Pixar has just an incredible legacy, and so I think they're gonna have to put in a lot of work to crack their classics. I think, for me anyway. And honestly, their past couple of years have been on a bit of a, I don't want to say a slump because it's still good movies, but I think they're struggling to reach the highs that they had back in the 2010s.
Oh. Interesting. So I completely disagree. Like
really?
For me,
Okay.
like since 2017, Pixar has been freaking awesome. Like since Coco and Toy Story 4,
Toy Story 4,
Soul,
come on.
like all of these movies for me, like they kind of covered all the bases. Like we have the Toy Story 4 gut wrenching, like facing what is, you know, purpose in a way, you know, where it's like learning to live for yourself and learning to understand that you don't have to live for others. You can do what makes yourself happy. We have Soul, which is even very much more on the purpose side of things, like questioning what it is to have passion and purpose and destiny, and even if any of that matters, you know. So to me, I think Pixar recently, in recent years, has had not only the higher concepts, but also even Onward, which is a fun adventure film that even has its own little, you know, bow-wrapped lesson on it about, you know, regret and the passing of people you love and care about. I think Pixar has been awesome the last few years. I think we've well made our way out of the slump.
I guess when I'm talking about the classics, I'm really talking about those first 10 or so, which have, you know, Toy Story, obviously, Up, WALL-E, Ratatouille. To me, those are still their most original and creative concepts. That are just perfectly executed. they've never made a bad, well, okay, they've made one bad movie, maybe two, but it's an incredible track record.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to say this is a mid-tier Pixar movie is by no means, an insult.
Mm-hmm. And I think I agree personally. I'm more on Kevin Rice's side with saying that Luca is more of a mid-tier Pixar movie, but a mid-tier Pixar movie is still really good.
Yeah,
better than most of the movies that come out.
Yeah.
Now, Daniel, obviously we think it's a little bit more on the high tier. We seem to have enjoyed it more. What did you like about this film, Daniel? Besides, we discussed earlier the subtext, but what in the film really caught you?
For me, it was just the simplicity that you mentioned. It was just the finding the friendship and trying to figure out who you are. I enjoyed the simplicity of it all, and I just thought it was a beautiful movie. Like, I felt like you were kind of taken to Italy, and you kind of really felt a lot of those. The colors were just so vibrant, and I just loved that. And what I liked about it most was it didn't try to be more than what it was.
Exactly.
It was just a simple film. It was like less than an hour and a half time wise.
Oh, love it. Love to see that.
Yeah, it didn't push it to be something that it didn't have to be. That's what I liked about it.
I really appreciated how low stakes it was.
Yeah.
The big drama or the big third act action drama piece is just a bicycle race. I love that because
they had to eat a lot of pasta too.
But you
were still on the edge of your seat with that
exactly,
race, and you're like, oh my god, it's gonna rain. You're like I don't know, like you were still on the edge of your seat, as exciting as it was, and it was still simple, and like you said, it was just a bike race, but you were really taken into that race. It felt like
I mean, it's a simple story just told very well.
It's nothing like Soul, where a man is trying to find his purpose in life and reunite a soul into existence.
Soul's dark.
It really is.
It is.
It really is. I mean, what's a Pixar movie without a little bit of existential crisis? Come on.
Right.
Now, Nick, I'm curious. What makes this a mid-tier Pixar to you?
It's nothing that it actively does that makes it like a mid-tier movie, right? It's just
Maybe it's what it doesn't do.
It's what it doesn't do for me, right? Like, to me, like, I do enjoy that it's such a simple, low stakes movie, and I think it's cool. But I also, for me, the Pixar movies that really like blow my hair back and make me go, "Damn, that was a really good movie," are the ones that have that bit of a existential crisis or even like political stakes and things like that come with like The Incredibles or, I enjoy the higher concepts woven into my kids' movies that comes with Pixar. And I think that's for me what makes them push beyond what other studios fail to do.
I think what sets the top tier Pixar apart from anybody else, including middle tier Pixar, is that they can easily be viewed not as kids movies, just as movies, just as films. Just thematically, they are just super rich. I'm not going to spoil my top 5 right now, but 4 of my top 5 are original films. There's only one sequel in there. But even the sequel is just full of so much creativity and originality. But the rest of them are just 100% original concepts that I had never seen anywhere else before. Whereas something like Luca, it's very good. It's very well done. But undersea creature yearning to live life on Earth, we've seen that in The Little Mermaid. Kids, having an adventure, coming of age, we've seen that 100 times. So it's a well-worn story idea, but it's still told very, very well. That's not to knock the movie at all, but to me, that's what sets the top tier Pixar apart.
I think that's a fair argument. I really do. You're absolutely right. This isn't a new, story by any stretch. I think when you kind of relate to some of these undertones, maybe that's where it gets a little, next level, if you will. But since those aren't technically there, you're right. It's not a story we haven't seen before.
Yeah, I agree. I think it really just plays the Pixar strength of how well they can tell a known story. Because I think this is kind of one of the best ways to tell this story that's been told a million times before. And like, just to play up the villain, to just make him so, characteristically evil and like just so sleazy and funny and just like just ridiculously Italian, and he has
aggressively European.
Yes, aggressively European with his Vespa and his goon. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. Like, and you know what's gonna happen. You know, it's just it's so simple, but there's a beauty in that simplicity that they captured in this one. And
I love that all they wanted was a Vespa.
I know.
Yeah.
Super low stakes. I love it. I love to see stories like that.
A Vespa to live out their gay dreams. I love it. Now, speaking of the animation real quick, Nick, I gotta know, man. I actually heard some rumblings online of people saying like, oh, this is not up to Pixar standard. These characters are ugly. We've seen this before. I think most of us here think the film was beautiful. What did you think?
Yeah, it's gorgeous. I don't know. I guess, is it because the designs are like remotely different?
Design,
like,
yes.
Like they have a more like harsh noses.
Well,
I guess things like that. They're like slightly less rounded than normal Pixar
it's designed to look like claymation. I mean, am I wrong? That's immediately the first thing I saw was, oh, this looks like a Wallet and Gromit character.
I didn't pick up on that until you just said it, but
but I mean, I mean, in the just the shapes of the character designs, but also in the animation itself, there's a little bit of jank. It's like their motions are not as smooth. To me, it really looked like they were trying to mimic a claymation style, which I loved.
I will say that I thought they could have made the when they were underwater creatures. I thought they were incredibly ugly. Like, I mean, their eyes and teeth. Like, I get they're supposed to be monsters. Like, I get that. But even from a Disney Pixar perspective, I was just like, they could have made their eyes not so like red. You know, they were like this reddish color, and their teeth were just. I don't know. Like, I thought they could have been cuter, sea creatures, if you will.
Well, I'm wondering.
I like the fin mustache.
I like the fin mustache. Exactly. But I'm also wondering if that's going to hurt merchandising, because I agree that the creature design was not as plushy as
I mean, Luca and Alberto, the little boys, the human boys, they were super cute, and I see the claymation now that you brought it up, but. Man, when they were in that ocean, I was just thinking, especially when Luca was with his family and they were eating towards the beginning of the film, and they were all together, and there was just like this like wide shot with the grandmother, and it was like all their eyes were like this like evil looking color. It was just kind of like it didn't feel very Pixar.
I absolutely loved Uncle Ugo though.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
From the deep sea, I just could not stop laughing throughout that whole scene. He was fantastic. It's just grotesque. Just wonderfully grotesque.
He really was, and it was very. It's kind of like Daniel said, very uncharacteristic for a Disney film. I think if this had come from Disney proper, they would have looked much cuter. Yeah. I don't think Uncle Ugo would have existed in a Disney movie.
But then we wouldn't have had Sacha Baron Cohen voicing.
That's
Uncle
true,
Ugo, and that's very important.
I didn't know he was the voice. That's
amazing. I didn't either until the credits. Yeah,
that makes it even better. That's awesome. All right, gentlemen. Well, it seems we're a tad bit mixed across the board on Luca, but I guess I'll go around. Final thoughts before we move on to our big Pixar extravaganza here. Any final thoughts? I'll start with you, Daniel.
Just a cute movie. Enjoy it. Don't overthink the undertones that are there. Like, I feel like we try to make things out of something that's not there, but if that's your thing, then I think you're going to see some nods there that you'll love and appreciate.
Exactly. What about you, Nick?
Yeah, watch this shit. Like, it's super cute. It's fun. Like, what's not to like?
It's free on Disney Plus. I completely agree.
Yeah.
Completely agree. Any final words, Kev?
Yeah, it's a great movie for the whole family. I think there's a lot to like about this. So everybody should watch it.
Loved it. I think Pixar did it again. Really, really fun film. Really fun. So, speaking of Pixar, Kevin, we have a little game we're going to play here. I'd like you to explain this crazy scoring system that we're going to do.
So we are going to be doing a Mount Rushmore of Pixar movies. So how this is going to work, we are going to go around each giving our top 5 Pixar movies, and we will assign scores based on the rank. So everybody's number 5 movie gets 1 point. Number 4 gets 2 points, et cetera, et cetera. Except your number 1 movie gets a bonus point, a couple of bonus points. So your number 1 will get 7 points. Okay? All right. If you're curious, this is based on the Eurovision Song Contest scoring, which I watched a few weeks ago, and it was wonderfully ridiculous. So I thought this would be a good fit. So, who wants to start?
You know what? Daniel's our guest. Let's start with. Are we starting with number 5?
Yeah, we'll each do our number 5. Then we'll each do our number 1.
All right.
Start at number 5.
Daniel, number 5, top Pixar movie. What do you got?
no pressure. This took me a long time to come up with the list because I wanted to do Toy Story 1, 2, 3, and 4. But I decided not to do that. And at number 5, I went with Cars, the original.
Oh,
Okay,
nice.
Okay.
I think that's a solid number 5. I like that.
We were just talking the other day that the Cars movie is, I think, unfairly maligned. The first one, anyway.
Yeah, because it followed Cars 2, and that's one of the worst Pixar movies ever made.
That first one, though, is super charming. I think people need to give that a second chance.
All right, Nick, number 5.
This is probably going to be, I don't know. Maybe this won't be on anyone else's top 5. I'm not sure because this is may slightly be controversial, may not at all. But my number 5 is Soul.
Okay.
Oh, nice. Good pick.
And I think with time it could end up being higher on this list. But as of right now, I'm sticking with it at number 5.
Soul was one of the ones I struggled with because I really liked it. It didn't end up in my top 5, but it was close. It was up there.
Same for me. Yeah.
All right, Kevin Rice, 5.
My number 5 is, I think probably, honestly, now that I'm looking at these, this might be in reverse order for how much I cried. Now that I'm actually looking at my list. So my number 5 is Up.
Aw.
Probably specifically because of that first 10 minutes, I think is just a wonderful little short story that I don't know if Pixar has ever told such a more heartfelt little story. We'll see.
Yeah, I love Up, man. What a sweet story. How can you not love that dog? Yeah, okay. My number 5 is going to have to be The Incredibles. How can you not love a superhero story from Pixar? I don't know. I love this movie just way back in the day. I did not like Incredibles 2, unfortunately.
I did not like Incredibles 2 near as much. The Incredibles is one of those to me that I enjoy it, but to me that's mid-tier Pixar. I never really understood the crazy
Bad take.
Love. I know, hot
take.
I never really understood the crazy amount of love that Incredibles gets. It's good.
I never understood the love either.
Thank you, Daniel. It's the best Fantastic Four movie we've ever gotten.
Excuse me, gentlemen. Disney's The Watchmen. You have a problem with this? There's an issue with Disney's The Watchmen? What the hell is wrong with you?
And this is how I never get invited back.
All right.
Incredibles is great. Okay, we're on to our number 4. We'll go back to Daniel.
My number 4 is Finding Nemo.
Finding Nemo.
Oh,
this
nice.
one was again very close to being in my top 5.
I don't know how it's not in your top 5.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. It's one of those movies where I can just see it and it'll pop up and I'll just sit and watch it. I love it. I just think it's a cute movie with a great story and great everything, all the tone and everything behind it is just awesome.
And I think that was the one that for me anyway is when their animation really went to the next level. All that underwater stuff is just
those oceans
gorgeous.
are amazing in Finding Nemo. That's nuts.
Yeah.
All right, Nick, number 4.
My number 4, Kevin Rice, Daniel, is The Incredibles.
Yes.
Yeah.
More Incredibles. All right, Kevin.
My number 4 is the only sequel in my top 5, and I really struggled with this one. I nervous. I couldn't decide if I wanted to go
2, 3, or 4.
Exactly. I couldn't decide if I wanted to go Original Recipe or Toy Story 3. So I went Toy Story 3.
Okay, good.
Oh, okay.
And again, as much as I love that original one, and the other two as well, there's not a bad Toy Story movie.
There's no.
Toy Story 3, the ending.
Every time.
Fucking devastating.
Waterworks.
Devastating. I remember watching that in the theater, just ugly crying. Like making a scene in the theater because it hit me so hard.
I still feel bad for Lotso Bear when he gets put on the front of that truck.
Right? And also, too, there's a Toy Story for everything, right? Like, I'm not going to be offended at any of the 4 making any of your top 5s, personally.
All right, my number 4, boys and girls, is the wonderful Ratatouille. How can you not love Ratatouille, man?
It's great.
The Gordon Ramsay of rats making delicious. it's awesome.
It shows up on my list too. Don't you worry.
It does mine as well.
All right. Kevin, are you writing these down, by the way?
I am writing them down. Don't worry.
Okay. I was like, who's keeping score? All right. Let's go to number 3, Daniel.
My number 3 is one that I saw and was like, I don't really care about it, and ended up falling in love with it. Is Coco.
Okay.
Oh my God, beautiful! I love it.
It's just I went to this movie thinking, this is going to be a bad Pixar movie, and then ended up leaving going, oh my God, one of the best movies I've ever seen. I just loved it.
Yeah, it's just beautiful, beautiful. And again, I think that's another one where the animation kicked up a notch.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's when
Dude, when you see that flower petal bridge the first time,
photorealistic.
oh my God,
yeah, gorgeous.
It's incredible,
gorgeous.
All right, Nick, number 3.
My number 3, probably not on anyone else's top 5. I doubt it anyway, but is another Toy Story movie. Is Toy Story 4?
Okay.
All right.
Wow,
and
you put
I
4
think-
that high.
I put 4 at number 3, and the reason why is Toy Story 4 just really hit for me at the time that it came out.
You know, I avoided it for a few months because I thought it was unnecessary, and then when I finally watched it, I was like, okay, you know, you did it, you got me again, Pixar, because I didn't think I needed this movie, but it was a wonderful ending for Woody.
Damn you,
The
Tom
message of living for yourself and seeking something worth in yourself instead of pleasing of others, I thought was really great.
It was a beautiful
and I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Kevo, number 3.
My number 3 is Ratatouille.
Wonderful choice.
Yeah, absolutely love that movie. Love that movie.
Well, Nick, you were wrong because I agree with you. My number 3 is Toy Story 4 as well.
Okay.
Dude, those puppets, and when they go into the old
Creepy
shop,
puppets.
it just absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
What amazing animation!
It really is.
The whole movie's beautiful. Great ending for Woody.
Another thing I really liked about that movie is there's really not a villain. You know, the ostensible villain. I can't remember her name, but it's voiced by Christina
It's
Hendricks.
Gabby, right?
Gabby, yeah, thank you. It's Gabby. Is very sympathetic and very vulnerable, and by the end of it, you're on her side.
Absolutely.
And that's pretty rare for a kids movie to do that.
Yeah, and the lesson of her is that she fell into the same trap as Woody of trying to live for someone else instead of going out and seeking her own happiness. And I think the villain ties so well in with the core message of the movie.
You guys have me wanting to go watch number 4 again.
I know, right?
All right, up to number 2 on all of our lists. Daniel, you're number 2.
My number 2 is Ratatouille.
Ratatouille.
Nice.
I just love this movie.
It's just gorgeous. It's just so good.
Ratatouille, racking up a lot of points.
It is.
Let's see. What about you, Nick? Number 2.
My number 2 is Coco.
Nice.
Growing up in Texas, there's not a lot of encouraging of showing your emotions as a man. And Coco was like one of the first movies as a grown man that I watched and cried and realized it was probably okay to cry during movies.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. I'm such an easy crier anyway, but this is another one that I just ugly cried openly. And guess what? It's my number 2.
Oh, wow.
Ooh, yeah.
Well, that's a 3 for 3, boys, because Coco is my number 2.
Wow.
Yeah. Coco, I mean, we're all big fans on this podcast, apparently. It's an absolutely gorgeous film. Yeah, I mean, when he goes to the land of the dead and just, oh, God, what awesome animation.
Awesome animation, and it's so good to see the Mexican culture fully on display. Love to see it.
All right. We are at our number 1 pick. The number 1 Pixar film on your list, Daniel, is what?
No brainer, Toy Story, the original.
OG
wow.
Toy Story?
Interesting.
That's the kind of a controversial pick.
I said, I could have put Toy Story 1, 2, 3, and 4 in my top 4, and been totally okay with it. The first one is just the original, I mean, it's another one that just kind of brings you back, and it's kind of where you fall in love with animation again, and I just love it. Love it.
And that was correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't that Pixar's first film? They ever
Toy Story was their first film.
The original.
Man, what a banger to start with.
Back when they were owned by Steve Jobs.
Oh, that's crazy.
Great story.
That's awesome. All right, Nick, number 1.
My number 1. So I did my best to keep nostalgia out of my picks. I did not do that with number 1, but I still think it's a great film regardless. Toy Story 2.
Toy Story 2.
Wow.
Number 1 film.
And that is okay. So all the Toy Stories are on this getting points here.
Each of us have different Toy Stories. That's cool. Wow, Toy Story 2. I did not expect that, Nick. That's sort of the stepchild of the Toy Stories.
Yeah,
I love it.
If I were to rank the Toy Story movies, that would be on the bottom. It's still a wonderful movie. It's great. But yeah, that would be on the bottom. So my number one is apparently, I kind of expected this to already show up. I'm surprised it didn't. To me, this is Pixar's most artful, most cinematic movie. Half of it is told without any dialogue whatsoever, and I just love that about it. And that is WALL-E. Is my number one Pixar movie.
Well,
I can appreciate that movie. I don't love it. I appreciate it, but I'm just like, I don't love it. I don't know.
I adore it.
My wife is the same way, and I don't get it.
It's amazing.
The super liberal messages that he has. Personally, I like pollution,
Right.
so for me, it makes it the bottom Pixar film.
We like pollution, and we like being fat. So
Right.
Yeah, I do. You know, I'm okay with being fat. I won't say I like it, but I'm okay with it.
But honestly, going back to what we're talking about thematically, I think this is one of the earlier times, maybe the first time, that Pixar really started playing around with deep adult themes, anti-consumerism, the dangers of capitalism run amok. Obviously, the environmental messages, I mean, are all there in WALL-E. And
I think part of that is why it falls out of my top 5 is because it's so hard for me to take the dangers of consumerism from Disney.
That's fair.
It's so hard for me to have Disney tell me about the dangers of capitalism and consumerism.
Although, was WALL-E before Disney bought Pixar, though? We'll have to look into that. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I'll just round it off here. That's my number one as well, Kevin.
Is WALL-E? Fantastic.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, whenever you see the scene towards the beginning of the film of the musicals playing, and WALL-E is watching the musical and mimicking with this little trash can lid, and like,
gorgeous. How
can you not just watch that and be like, man, it's just a beautiful little form of storytelling.
Really
no dialogue needed for WALL-E's scenes where he's on Earth by himself, and just his little cockroach buddy. Disney makes cockroaches cute somehow, and just amazing film, man. So WALL-E caps off my number one. Let's calculate some scores.
All right, so
it was a Pixar Disney movie, by the way.
It was a Disney. Okay.
Yeah,
all right. So Cars, only 1 point out. Soul, out. Up, out. Finding Nemo, Toy Story 3 only have 2 points. They are out. So here's where we're going to start getting the nitty gritty. Incredibles has 3 points.
Nice.
Ratatouille has 9 points.
Wow.
Let's see. Toy Story 4 has 6 points. And then we have Toy Story Original is 7. Toy Story 2 is 7. So the Incredibles is out. And here's the big thing. It's going to be Coco or WALL-E. WALL-E has 14 points. And Coco has 4, 8, 12. Okay. Here we go. Our number 5, Mount Rushmore of Pixar movie.
Is sort of, because Mount Rushmore would be 4.
Okay, we're going to add the other Roosevelt.
Fifth head on Mount Rushmore.
Add Trump.
Oh, no.
Okay, so with 6 points, our number 5 is Toy Story 4.
Nice. You got to love it.
Congratulations. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know what? Nope, I fucked it up.
No,
it is out because I forgot that these two have 7. So the 6-pointer did not win, did not make it. Okay, so we have a tie. So here's how we're going to do a tie break. We're going to go to the Rotten Tomato score.
Okay.
So we have a tie between Toy Story 1 and Toy Story 2.
Wow.
Okay.
Oh, interesting.
That is a good tie.
Now here's the thing, guys. They both have a 100% Rotten Tomato score. So we're going to go to the audience score for our tiebreaker.
Yeah.
The audience score for Toy Story 2 is 87%. The audience score for Toy Story 1, 92%.
Yes!
So that means 5th place is Toy Story 2.
Woohoo!
4th place is Toy Story 1.
All right.
3rd place with 9 points, Ratatouille. Love to see it.
Yep.
4th place with 14 points. Sorry, 2nd place with 14 points is WALL-E, which puts our number 1 Mount Rushmore of Pixar is Coco.
Nice.
You know, I think that's a pretty fair assessment.
I think so too.
I think that Coco is a movie that is either in the people's top 5 as their number 5, or it's way up there as their number 1. But I think a lot of people that enjoy Disney movies would put Coco somewhere in their top 5. I think that's a pretty fair winner. what a film from Pixar! What a
It's
success!
just gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. And that scene where Grandma Coco at the end remembers her father, devastating. Absolutely devastating. Here's an interesting thing. Some notable movies that got 0 points or nil point, as they say in Eurovision. Inside Out, 0 points.
Yeah.
A Bug's Life, 0 points.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. I thought Inside Out would be on somebody's list.
Inside Out's was on my fringe. That was on my fringe. Soul was on my fringe, and I even had Onward on my fringe. I loved Onward.
I did too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there you go, gentlemen. Congratulations to Coco and to Pixar.
That was fun.
Disney, the Lords of the Screen have demanded it. We have decreed it. Coco is the best Pixar movie, and there will be no argument going forward. But yeah, that was a good contest, and great to sit here talk about Pixar and Luca with you guys. I mean, I think we've said it time and time again, but when you think of Pixar, you just think of excellence, and I hope that doesn't change, in the future. Mm-hmm. Absolutely wonderful studio. Well, it's been fun talking to you guys here today on another Lords of the Screen episode. Daniel, thank you as always for joining us, man.
Yeah, thanks, Daniel.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, you're all right.
Always. Anytime we'll have you back. Nick and Kevin, and not so much, but I love you. No, thank you, gentlemen. We are the Lords of the Screen podcast. We're everywhere on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, Google. Check us out. Go to our Facebook page. Give us a rating on any of those platforms. Give us a follow if you like the discussion here today. We talk about more things than Disney, we promise. It's been in the conversation a lot lately, but we cover all kinds of stuff. We'll even do some video games at some point and different things. So yeah, if you want to hear some entertainment news from a bunch of nerds, come our way. Lords of the Screen, check us out, and thank you for listening.